There is an old saying, destiny is not predetermined and you can create your own destiny. In this episode, you will learn about a man who followed his passion, his interests, and thus began the process of building his own destiny. This is Naveen's story.
Hello everyone, my name is Naveen Mallesh. I'm from Bangalore, born and brought up, and I've been into trekking for almost like 12 to 13 years. I come with a background of being an engineer. As you are born in Bangalore, you are taught to become an engineer by rule, is what we say here. So yeah, I'm an engineer, and later I also did my executive program in business management in IIM Lucknow. So I have around 5 to 6 years in corporate of experience, and later I finished my program in IIM Lucknow. So that is when I took up my stint into startups. So that was my first startup, when I started way back in 2015. So my first startup was by name Book My Interest. So that got a successful exit, basically got acquired after 2 years. And then probably around 2016, the idea of TrekNomads started, and it has continued, and then I'm still living with it. And this is what I've been doing. I have a family of mom, dad, elder brother, and elder sister, and 2 lovely dogs. And this is what I am. So everyone asks me the question like, how I got into trekking. So it has a good backstory, as each and every success has a backstory. So it goes back to my NCC days. Basically, I've completed my ABC certificate. I've also represented All India NCC at Rajpath in 2005. I marched on famous Rajpath, which is Kartavya Path right now, in 2005. So basically, my interest in adventure or trekking was initially started from my NCC days, where we used to go for small hikes as a part of our training programs. So this goes back to the year, I would say 2003 to 2006. So during my school days, my PUC days, and my first year of engineering. So this is where I got the interest, and of course, once I got into engineering, there was a gap of around 3-4 years, and then again I slowly started getting back to trekking as a hobby, or a passion, you can say, where I used to go with multiple groups on the weekends, and slowly I started leading the treks whenever I used to get time and everything. And as you understand, post engineering, you get into the mode of getting into the employment, and the job. Getting a job in your own stream. Like I got into a job where it was telecommunication, which is my branch of engineering. So I continued there for around 4 to 5 years, but still continued doing my trekking on my weekends or whenever I used to get time. In 2012 is where I really got interested to do one of the Himalayan treks. And as I've been very well versed in terms of doing the treks, leading the treks, and also exploring unexplored routes using maps and compass and everything. So we thought why not do it on our own, like basically what we say in mountaineering right now as an alpine style. It is not a mountaineering, but it was a trek, but done in an alpine style, because we planned everything from the scratch, and we carried all our luggages and food and everything for the Everest base camp. So this was in 2012, and so if you understand, anyone planning for Himalayan treks, nobody would plan for Everest base camp straightforward. But yeah, we actually made that plan, and that was a success, you can say. But right now, if I am running a company, I don't suggest any of the trekkers to do that for the first time, because it is quite difficult and kind of impossible as well. But that happened. So when that happened, that is when I saw Everest for the first time. And I guess my passion or a hobby actually took the next level when I saw Everest for the first time, and it actually made me feel that I belong here. little did I know that I'll end up being in the mountains most of my time in a year, but that was the time I really felt that I belonged there, and that actually grew year by year. And after my corporate stint and all after my first startup stint, so probably after I met my other partner of TrekNomads, so we sat and decided that we should do something around trekking, and it took good 2 to 3 months of brainstorming, and how we can make it different, and how we can make it inclusive for each and every one, and how we can be different in this industry. So it took good 2 to 3 months of brainstorming, and it took good 2 years of POC, I can say proof of concept, where I examined it, and I actually checked whether it will work, it will make sense, because I was taking up my hobby and passion to my lifestyle business, and it is not going to be easy, which everyone knew, and I myself knew very well. But as I did the 2 years of POC, I clearly made up my mind, because I got the clarity that this is going to make sense, because of course I wanted to move out of that corporate lifestyle, and nothing actually beats more than taking people to mountains and seeing that happiness on their face, and that is what makes you work even more in this particular space. So that is what has been kept me going, and it has continued, and luckily we've been able to make that difference in the industry, and also make that difference in multiple people's lives, which has actually given that peace and happiness. And also ultimately, as I told you, when I thought that I belong here, now easily 5 to 6 months in a year I belong in mountains, and what else do you need? So this is my story. I still remember my first trek, which I can remember, is to a small hill near my area. It was called Hanumagiri Betta, probably 10 to 15 minutes hike. But I had hiked this when I was 5 to 6 year old, I guess, probably first and second standard, because many other boys around my area, they used to take me there. So that was my first hike that I remember. After that, probably in my NCC days, we used to go to Shivgange and Andagiri, few other local treks near Bangalore. So this was my exposure, and then when we started doing some real serious treks in the Western Ghats, where we used to find routes, there is one trek route, which is probably done by only very few people, I can say, that is Ombatu Gudda. It is whenever anybody hears this word Ombatu Gudda, only those trekkers who are a decade or probably 2 decades back, they only know the importance or the the legacy of that trek route. So yeah, so we have done that also. So from there, starting with an amateur way of completing Everest Base Camp in 2012, and getting the basic mountaineering course done, and understanding the nitty-gritties and the basic sense of mountaineering in 2019. So I've grown myself, in trekking, in terms of what we say or explain this generation, basic difference from a hike, trek, and a climbing mountaineering. So it has grown beyond my capabilities, I can say, because coming from sea level and reaching the heights which I've been to. So in 2019, I climbed Africa's highest peak, which is Mount Kilimanjaro. And in 2021, I climbed Europe's highest peak in Russia, which is Mount Elbrus. And in July 22, I also climbed two 6,000 meters in Ladakh in just 70 hours, which was also a record. But the youngest guy was from Andhra Pradesh, so he got the record. And then I tried climbing my first 8,000 meter in September 22, but due to a lot of avalanches and weather issues, I couldn't complete it. I just reached to 8,000 meter, and I had to return from there, and that was a call taken by me, so that I come back in one piece. So yeah, I had a few frostbites on my leg, but that luckily got recovered. And recently, I climbed Malaysia's highest peak and Vietnam's highest peak in the shortest time, that is 3 days and 10 hours, which is also got recognized by India and Asian Book of Records. So having done all these things, I could say, probably I've done 70 plus Himalayan treks and probably around 300 plus Western Ghats and local Bangalore treks. Having done all these things, so what I understand is, whenever I'm in the mountain, the feeling I get each and every time I go back there as well. So the only thing I feel is, being humble about it, because in front of those huge mountains, I always feel I'm just a small speck of light, and nature, whatever which is given by nature, it can be taken at any point of time. The way you are humble about it and the way you handle your humility is the only thing that can stay with you, and that is what actually keeps you going. And that is what makes me go back to these mountains, because I keep learning myself. I get back to my own self of being humble about whatever I am experiencing in life.